All right, what's good in the hood? UFC 325 is nearly here. I'm going to be looking at the co-main event. Dan the Hangman Hooker versus Benoit Saint-Denis, the God of War. This one's a very fun matchup for a casual such as myself, simply because you can expect this is going to be a very, very violent fight. And not even that, just the fact that this is going to have some good stakes for a division that is currently very hot with a new interim champ and a MIA undisputed champion, Ilya Taporia. Currently, right now, we have Dan Hooker, who I don't know what he's doing on the side, to still have a 6th ranked position, one of the best weight classes right now. But nonetheless, he's 6. And Benoit Saint-Denis is number 8 after going through a skid of 2 losses against Renato Marcano and the legend himself, the Diamond Poirier. But he's on a 3-fight win streak. Dan Hooker is currently riding a tough loss to Arman Sarukian. And it was actually pretty recent. November 22nd is, today's January, near the end of January. So it's like 2 months. So it's not super recent, but he did take a beating. Like I said, he's coming off a loss. Benoit Saint-Denis, he's coming off a win back in November. It's actually pretty recent too, against Dariush. And before that, he won in September against Rufi, pretty quick fashion too. And then Prepelec. So he's on a 3-fight win streak, like I said, after his little skid. It's a very fun matchup. We'll say ranked contenders. Hooker's probably not a contender at this point. Benoit could be a contender. Ranked contenders, one of the hottest divisions. Who am I going with? That's all that matters, right? What is this casual MMA lord thinking? And I'm kind of mixed. If it wasn't, I think the biggest asterisk I have in my head is the fact that Dan Hooker is coming off a loss that I thought he took some damage, not even in the fight so much, so more the face-off, where I believe he said that he broke his nose. I don't know how accurate that is, but he broke his nose just from the headbutt from Arman during the face-off. But nonetheless, he took some damage in this fight. I mean, his face was definitely bleeding. It was bruised up. He got some ground and pound. And then, of course, he got dominated morally in the sense that, taken down, submitted, out jiu-jitsu'd, all that stuff, beaten up at times on the feet too. So that's where I'm going to lean towards my pick being Benoit Saint-Denis. I think is going to win this, and I think he's going to win this by submission. But yeah, if it wasn't for this, my opinion would have changed. But he's coming off this recently poor outing. But if it wasn't for that, I would be like, he'd be coming in fresh. And I would think, as I go back to this fight with, oh my God, the man from Florida. What is his name? He's the biggest letdown in the division. Oh my God, Mr. Gamrot. And I love Gamrot, but he's been the biggest letdown. The point I'm trying to make is that, as I digress, is that Dan Hooker, he's not as bad as some of his outings show, in the sense that, yes, he does seem to have lower IQ, where he's going to put on a banger of a fight in favor of actually trying to win. Not to mention he's taken a lot of damage, where it seems like every fight now he busts open like he's doing a blade job in like WE, like just a couple punches into like the first round. It seems like there's a risk that he's already going to start bleeding. Never good in a damage output based scoring system. But again, point being is that he's obviously lanky. He's a good kickboxer, and the concern is going against someone like Benoit Saint-Denis is that grappling and jiu-jitsu is going to be a real danger threat. Obviously, Benoit Saint-Denis, he's pretty well-rounded himself. He can strike, he can do jiu-jitsu, he can do grappling. So there's threat on the feet of him getting a knockout. Like I said, he pretty much put Mr. Dariush in early retirement. Was it 20 seconds into their fight? But yeah, he has 5 wins by knockout and 11 wins by submission. So there's risk on both ends. But naturally, the fear is that he's going to just maul and try to take down Dan Hooker. But the reason I keep going back to this beautiful picture, this is a beautiful jiu-jitsu wrestling picture, is that Gamrot, I think, is probably a better wrestler than Benoit Saint-Denis. And I think he's a better wrestler than a lot of the division, honestly. I mean, for God's sakes, you go watch that fight with him and Arman. Like, he was putting Arman's wrestling into question, and at times was getting the best of him in the grappling and the kind of those flow exchanges and this and that when they were scrambling. And Dan Hooker, sure, he did some damage, and maybe that's why Gamrot's wrestling points declined a few. But I mean, as this picture showed, he would get taken down, but he was able to either scramble on those takedown exchanges, or he was able to get back up, and there was really no. And again, Gamrot saw, I think, a big submission threat, but he was never really heavily controlled. And sure, he's been controlled in the past, but we're talking the elite of elite. People like Islam obviously were able to maul him. And again, I don't think Benoit Saint-Denis is at that level. The problem is that Dan Hooker has taken some damage recently, and yeah, it's just one of those things when you're going against a guy like this bloody bastard, this was an anti-terrorist French special unit force motherfucker. Don't cancel YouTube. There's definitely some real concern where it's like this guy's he's gonna push the pace right away. It's a 15-minute fight, and this guy doesn't give a crap. I mean, if you've seen this fight, go rewatch it. This was like 5 minutes worth of fighting against Renato Marcano when he lost, where it's like he took, was it 30, 40 clean ground and pound strikes, came out round 2 with pretty much no eyes, and was still swinging until the ref was like, you can't see, you're going blind, like we got to call this. The point is, this guy is a menace, and Dan Hooker is coming off damage, a loss. On top of it, he's not the best when it comes to grappling. And I feel like this guy's going to physically impose him. And I think I'm kind of surprised, actually, about the size matchup. I thought Dan Hooker, because he's pretty tall, these stats got to be lying. Maybe I'm just blind as hell, but there's only a 1-inch height difference, and the reach is pretty marginal. Even the leg reaches, I guess the leg reach 2.5 it's gonna play its role with Dan's kick game. But the point I'm saying is that Benoit, I feel like he's gonna be able to physically impose his will. And he's going to use his striking to really, I think, break down Dan's defense, because Dan's going to he's going to go for a striking contest. There's no question about that. And Benoit is happy to strike with him. The question is Dan going to get stuck against the cage? Is Dan going to start worrying too much about the takedown, leave his head open? And at his age and his, the amount of wars he's gone through with Paul Felder, Dustin Poirier, you name it, he's going to bleed right away. He's going to bruise right away. And the moment he starts getting rocked, just like with Armand, that's when your takedown defense goes too low, because you're not thinking about the takedown anymore. And I think it's going to be a good scrap. It's just, again, I worry too much about that recent activity. So yeah, my honest opinion is that Benoit is going to ride the streak, and I do believe in momentum. He's going to go and now have a 4-fight win streak, and he's going to slowly push towards this top 5. Dan Hooker should not be here. Dan Hooker's great for the sport. He's good for business, and he seems to be able to take out a lot of those mid-tier guys. But at the end of the day, he's on the regression when it comes to his career. And Benoit had a little hurdle, hit a little hiccup, and he's shown some issues maybe with defense and just like not having his chin fly out there, especially when he had staff. But yeah, I mean, I think he's going to push through, and that's going to put him right, like it's on that cusp of that top 5, where maybe he can get a fight with like Patty or something. I don't know. It's just, it feels like obviously these 4 names they're pretty much very exclusive. So someone like Hooker and obviously BSD, like they're gonna have to fight amongst each other to finally break into this elusive top 5 that Patty has broken into. But I don't think Patty warrants it, even though he looked whatever in his fight. But yeah, I think Benoit is gonna cruise through this, and I expect there to be some resistance early on. I think the takedown defense will definitely shine early on, but as the fight goes on and the pace continues to press due to this warmonger, then Dan's going to crack. He's going to take damage, and unless Dan can catch him, which he did in the case of Gamrot, but we just find that Gamrot's for lack of a better words, a dud in this division. I think Benoit's going to break him. He's going to break him, but it will probably be, I'll give it end of second round, maybe by the third round. It's going to be submission. I think he's going to submit Dan Hooker, just getting real pressure on him, and then try to go for some sort of choke of some nature. And Dan's going to be a little exhausted. He's going to be stuck against the cage. That's my prediction. I'm a casual. Let me know in the comments, am I being unrealistic or am I just going with it? I mean, I guess the odds already show it, -350. So yeah, that's my prediction. I'm going to look at the main event next. So I'm going to post this, like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed it. And let me know in the comments, do you agree, or do you think Dan Hooker has the man himself, the good old Hooker, do you think he has any chance to pull this off in his in his home country. And keep an eye out for the main event. Talk soon.